Okay, so the 13th Amendment was passed in 1865, and the 13th Amendment to some people might be the most important of the Reconstruction Amendments. The text of the amendment, in brief and short, says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, which means involuntary means you can't say no, servitude means you're being a servant. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So, this fancy wording here of the 13th Amendment says that slavery is ended forever in the United States. So, it made slavery illegal forever in the United States. Nowhere in the USA today is slavery allowed, and that's because of the 13th Amendment. Now, the Southern states were not happy about this amendment. It was actually passed in January of 1865 by the U.S. government before the Civil War had actually ended. So when the war ended in April of 1865, one of the things that happens when when the Southern states had to come back in, they had to ask to rejoin the USA. And the USA was saying yes, but you have to ratify, you have to sign and agree to the 13th Amendment in order to enter the USA again. So the way that the Southern states were allowed to come back into the United States was to agree that they would abide by the 13th Amendment. So that means that they would officially no longer be allowed to have slavery in the South. They would no longer be allowed to treat people like slaves, or it would be illegal now if they tried to do it. Now, unfortunately, this did not make everything 100% hunky-dory and perfect for the former slaves, especially in the South, because the Southern states did ratify and sign that 13th Amendment. But then what most Southern governments immediately did was start passing a series of laws called the Black Codes. Now, the Black Codes were passed in the South, and they were specifically to limit the rights of freed men. Okay, so, or free people. And so this whole idea was that, okay, I'll sign your 13th Amendment, but when I get back home and I start my state back up, we're going to also pass some Black Code laws that say, well, we're going to pass laws that create a situation as close to slavery as possible. No, you're not slaves because that's illegal, so I can't make you a slave again. But if I pass these laws, they will limit and control the lives of the freed men. And so these Black Codes come across, and we will look at them next week more in depth so you can see details about them. But just know that in the South, they may have agreed and said, yes, we will sign that 13th Amendment and free all slaves. But really, it was kind of like a sham. It was like a joke. They said, yeah, we'll sign it, but then we're going to go back to our state and we're going to make up these new laws that mean that free men don't really have the rights that the U.S. government is giving them, at least not in the South. So these Black Codes, again, we'll look at them next week, but they really limited what that 13th Amendment was actually able to do.